First thing I'm going to start out with is something I don't have up here yet. Now I will share. Okay, now some of you guys have already noticed, but some it may not be as obvious, that all students at Roosevelt have Microsoft Office 365. So you have access to Word and Excel are probably the two that you're going to use in most of your classes, but there's PowerPoint there, use that one quite a bit. There are things there too, but everybody has access to it. I think there's even a download. I'll see if I can get a download link for it. There's a download link if you want to add it to your computer. You don't have to do that. You can use it in the browser form, but everybody has access to it. And so that's what we're going to do kind of today, is kind of walk through a little bit, just to be in a class, just to kind of show you how you kind of use it for what we're doing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, not that. Okay, so this is the email. And this is just going through the school's website for the email. And if you go to this square thing up in the corner here, it's here in this thing. You go to that grid, I guess. You will, you click on that, there is all the stuff that you can use in 365. I bet if this is the download. I got instructions for the download that weren't right. Okay, that takes you to a blank page. Let's. All right. So anyway, so here's all the download. This is the apps you can use in 365. You can access this through virtually anything that you have. It's a browser-based program. So I'm gonna click on Word. And Word, oh, here it is. So you get these things. If you want to start a blank, I mean, you can use it for any of your classes. You can just click on a new document, whatever you want to do. But there's also down near the bottom here, down here, this would be it's kind of hitting this upload thing here. So this is on page. I started to screw this thing together. I didn't even put page numbers on it. At the top of page 2, the unmarked page 2, you can click on upload, and you can upload your stuff into it. And so here, let me upload textbook exercise 2.7. That's what we're working on today. Okay, so you can just pull it up here and fill it in like regular, like you do. So everybody has access to this. Everyone can use this. Formatting is a little bit funny. It's always funny. It doesn't come out right anyway. Yeah, right over.
Professor, do I have to download the file that you send through the email on my computer first?
Yes. Yeah. So so when I email the file, you save it somewhere on your computer or on your phone, and then pull it up that way. It's not the cloud-based one, just because in the past I've had problems with people getting access to it. So I always send them out as the actual file itself. So yes, you have to download it first and then upload it. And then when you save it, it's going to kind of, just reversing, you just hit, save. But then I'll show you how you can actually download it as a PDF. So it's automatically in there. But yes, to answer your question, yeah, you have to download it first.
Okay, I'm sorry. I completely missed the part how you uploaded it using Microsoft Word.
Okay, let's go back.
Sorry.
Not a problem at all. Okay, so I'm going to get out of this. Let me see here. Click on okay, so so up here in this, I don't have a name for it. I'm sure there is a name for it, but up there you're gonna click on the little grid thing, the 3x3 grid, and then click on Word.
Wait, your screen isn't shared.
You're right, it's not. I'm an idiot. Okay.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am. Being very polite. Okay, so this is let me go back to my blah. Okay, so I'm going to click on this grid thing up here. So we'll click on this, and there's Word. There's other stuff here: Excel, PowerPoint, all this other stuff. I don't even know what half these are. I don't know what Sway is. But anyway, so Word, and you get something like this, and it'll have a bunch of any files that you've written to people will be in there. They also have some templates. If you just want to start a new document, you can do it here. But if you go down a little bit, and it's over on the right-hand side, which is a little bit not intuitive. Let's say at the top of page 2, it says upload. So they have all these, the recommended ones. They have the start a new one, but then upload is what for this class, what you'd be using. For your other classes, by using something else. But. Okay, so I'm going to upload stuff for today's class, the exercise 2.7. And it might take a minute or two to upload.
So then how are we going to find what you upload?
Well, you're not finding what I upload. You're finding whatever you save it to on your computer. When I send out the files, save it to somewhere on your phone or on your computer. That's the file you're going to use. So you're going to use your file. It's going to be your same file that you saved onto your computer or onto your phone. Save it there. Open it up, work through it, and then save it to the same file. You're just gonna keep saving it to the same file.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are you wanting us to use Microsoft Office now for this class, or is it okay? Like I use Google Drive, so when you send the email, I just download it and drop it in Drive and use it that way.
You use whatever you want.
Oh, okay.
I'm putting this out there because it's not exactly clear. I don't think how to use they say of Office 365, but it's not obvious how to do it. So I'm just doing this. Everybody has Office 365. So I'm just showing you how to be like. Now, if you already have something, that you're using, by all means, I'll use it. But here's the thing about putting it in the cloud thing. The problem we have in the past is if I put it in the cloud, people pull it up. When they go to save it, it'll try to save it back to cloud, and then you get these access problems. Okay. So that's so that's why I send it out. It just makes it somewhat easier. But whatever you use, if you're using Google Docs or whatever, that's fine with me. Whatever you use is fine.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
All right, so let's share screen again before I do something stupid. Okay, so this is the document here. And formatting's a little off, but it's goes like that. So you fill in your stuff, whatever you have. What was this first one here? Paid rent for the month. Is that rent expense and 2,100.
I'm sorry, Professor. I tried to upload it to the OneDrive, and where would I be able to pull it up?
It should be in your OneDrive then.
All right.
Yeah. So as we fill these in, I'm not going to do the whole thing here. I'm just doing this as an example. So, okay, let's say I filled in my sheet here, and this is, I want to save it as a PDF. You go to File. And, oh, wait, where's my next? Click. Oops. Hold on. This is not showing something different. Huh. Why are they showing home? Okay, that's home. How strange. Okay, different. I just did this. Oh, okay. Well, now I gotta redo my handout. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this. Because if this comes up, I don't know why it's coming up now, but that will be an update to it. To click underneath here. Yeah, it's a little bit quirky. It's so you may have to click on this little 3-star thing on the side. So let me go back to that and just show you what I just did here. So I click on File. If you get this, click on More Options, Save As, and then you can download it as a PDF. So I converted it, and now I can download it. I'm going to download it to, I'm just going to say, I don't know what, Zoom. But you can save it to the same file if you know, the same name. So here's what it'll look like when I pull it up. Save it to. Oh, I did the permanent file. That's not how I should put it to. Try one more time here. I'm gonna get to where I need to. I thought it was. Okay, so this will be. Sorry. Why is it not showing up?
I downloaded the assignment onto Microsoft Word, but it still won't let me edit it to write my answers in.
Is it in the OneDrive?
Yes.
Yeah. That's
If you want, I can email you mine and then it might work for you.
Well, here's the thing with the OneDrive that we had problems with in the past, and this is why I would always send stuff out. So I can't see on here. Here we go. So this is what I just saved. It has my answer I put in here. Okay, so just so you know, the OneDrive, and this is kind of why I sent them out. The OneDrive does have a problem with permissions, and so students would be able to sometimes they wouldn't be able to upload it. Sometimes they'd be able to upload it, but they couldn't change it. They're going to save it back to it. Is it possible to download it to your device rather than the OneDrive? Put it in a folder.
Yeah, I already tried that before I downloaded it to the OneDrive. And when I opened it, it would open in Pages because I have an Apple computer. But when I tried to open it using Microsoft Word, I still wasn't able to edit.
And you're using the Word file, right? Not the PDF.
Yes, I'm using the Word file.
It's probably something with the permissions in the in the OneDrive. See if you can save it to your device rather than to the OneDrive. Yeah, the OneDrive is a cloud-based system. So see if you have a folder for files on either your phone or your pad or on your computer. If you download it to that rather than the OneDrive, you might be able to do it. And actually, even if you pulled it up in Word and you saved it back as something different, so save it back to your device, you should be able to edit it.
Okay, I'm gonna try right now.
Yeah. See, and see if you can do it that way. The OneDrive, when it came out, I was like, "Yay, this is great!" And then we just had so many problems with it. I was like, "Okay, this is not working." And it has to do mostly with permissions. Getting permission to write back to it. It's one of those things that it's a great idea, but the actual usage of it, and I try to make it work for weeks, and we could never figure out how to get it to be universally whatever. Because there's two problems. There's one problem with the OneDrive being secure, that they have their levels of security on it, and there's another thing that people's devices will have different things that have security on it that make it saving information back and forth like that. It was just too much of a hassle, and it wouldn't work. So that's why if you download it to the device itself, and then use it, edit it, and then go back and save it. Now, if you do it in Google, it probably saves it. You probably have a Google account, which would be separate from what I'm sending out. So that would probably be, I think, okay. It's kind of ironic that Microsoft, OneDrive, coming from or something, a different vendor's program might work better than the actual vendor of a Word document. And did it work or no?
I'm trying to I downloaded like 3 copies already, and then I named it 111, and I'm looking for it and I can't find it, and I'm trying to open it up on Word right now. It's getting a little frustrating.
I bet. Are you using a phone or a pad or
Computer?
Yeah, you should be able to save it into Apple. I mean, the operating system should be able to take it. Yeah.
Okay, so I found it. It just popped up. It was just being a little slow.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna open it. Sorry, we couldn't upload your file. You can only upload Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and Visio files.
That's a message you got in Office?
Yes.
Uh, So in here, let me go back here. So you went to upload and it says it, you're in Word and you can't do the upload?
Correct. I did the upload like you showed a couple minutes ago. Clicked on the assignment from my hard drive.
And it's a docs, so it has a docs extension on it? It's not
Well, no, it would be pages, or it would, I think oh wait, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it downloaded as, but I don't have Microsoft Word on this software, on this
Yeah.
computer. I'm using it through our email.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do on the screen here. I'll tell you what, yeah, so for now, and I apologize for this, it should work. You know, it doesn't help you right now. But yeah, if you could, there's a link to download it to install it on your computer. You don't have to do it, obviously. But if the web one isn't working, and from what I'm told, the actual one that you download is much more stable for all the programs. If you want to load it on your computer, it's kind of a big install, which is why I some people like not to do it. But yeah, if it's a docs, it's weird. If it has the DOX on it, it should open. Now it won't. If it's a PDF file, it won't open. Now, does Apple automatically convert it into a Pages file?
Well, it was the document that you sent through the email today. So
Right.
was that a PDF?
There's a PDF and there's a Word. I sent two out. There's two different versions. You know, there's a Word version and a PDF version.
So I only received the PDF version on the email you sent today.
Okay. I tell you what. Can you get into Blackboard?
Oh, I'm sorry. There was a drop down menu. I do see the Roosevelt MS Office Word document.
Okay. Well, yeah. So any document, yeah, anyone there's a document, so you can pull that up.
Oh, okay.
Now, I'm not as familiar with how some of the. I have worked on Apple computers. Actually, back in the day, when I did options trading, we used Apple computers. You couldn't network PCs back then. Only Apples could be networked. This is a long time ago. It's like ancient history, the history of computing. But we used to use Apple computers. So, I'll tell you what. As a kind of workaround, what I'm going to do is I'll get the link. There is a link for downloading the actual program Office 365. It's kind of a big program. I haven't actually put it on this computer because I already have Office on this one. But I believe you can still pick and choose what you put on there, and you don't have to put everything on. They have a million things in there. If you just put in the normal things that they have. Office, Word, PowerPoint, Excel. That's probably 90% of your classes. You could also put OneDrive on if you wanted, but you wouldn't need to. Yeah, is anyone else having problems with this? And by the way, this is now, to be perfectly clear, I have no idea why Blackboard, which is an academic platform, doesn't take Apple stuff. To me, that's outrageous because I mean, if you go to a lot of schools, all they use is Apple stuff. You know, especially the lower, which they use Blackboard on also. So you would certainly think that something that has that much of the market would be more acceptable by Blackboard. That's me getting my little anger out. Now, does anyone else have any problems with those? But anyway, so just to let you know that, so this is, it's available, you know, all this stuff is available to you. And all that. So here's all the apps that are available. A whole bunch of them. And again, it's, I say it's free, but actually it's probably coming out of your tuition. So you actually paid for it already. But yeah, but I believe there is a link that that you can actually download it, and I'll get it for you. I know there's a link that does this, but I will I'll get that and post it and send it out. And the link and putting it out, you don't have to put it on anything, but if you wanted to load the whole program on, you can. I'll say one more thing and then I'll shut up about this. And that is that a lot of businesses run on Microsoft. Not all of them. There's definitely companies that run on Apple, but a lot of them do run on Microsoft. So just be aware that, you know, here's my point. Downloading the program and so it may not be a bad idea because, you know, that's what a lot of the companies you start working, that's what they're going to be using. Nothing wrong, you know, you can still run it off an Apple. It's still available to you. Okay. All right. Well, let's go to. Oh, I gotta change that. I gotta add that on. Okay. So today's class, we just did this. So I think I gave you this as an assignment for last class, I think, to work on it. I don't think we did anything with it, did we? We did. Okay, so what I want to do here is just kind of go through and have you guys kind of give me the answers to fill in here.
Professor?
Yeah.
I just figured it out. So if I right click on the Microsoft Word document you sent through the email, it gives you the option to open it up with Word.
Oh.
Like right away. Yes. It says edit in Word in Word browser. So,
okay, I'm going to write that down, that if you write, so if you have an Apple.
yes. So the arrow, there's like a little drop arrow on the right of the tab that says that's for more actions. If you right click on it,
yeah,
there's an option to open it up and edit it on Word.
Okay, and you can't edit it, you can actually write in it?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
excellent. I will add that information. If you right click on it and open up in Word. Yeah, and again, you do have access to it. So if you pull up your email and then right click it, you should be able to pull it up.
Yes.
So, okay. Well,
thank you.
Oh, thank you. I did not know that, so now I do.
It makes things a lot easier. just because it's annoying sending 15 pictures sometimes.
I understand. And no, I agree. You know, I try to be as flexible as I can, but you know, at the same time, yeah, this is available. So, you know, everybody has access to it. A little bit quirky, but it's available. And again, those, if you're wondering why I don't use the OneDrive, it's because we've got so many problems in the past. And by the way, when I do Zoom meetings, I also save those. Those are saved locally on my computer. I don't use the cloud because I lost 2 class meetings by using the cloud, and something happens and you know you can't get it. So even though the cloud is theoretically the best and it's safe and all that kind of stuff, the reality is that you can have problems with it. Okay, so let's go through some of these. I tell you what, I want to go through and we'll put the I'll have you guys tell me the journal entry, and then we can go through and kind of see if there's any questions on how you got them. So what do you guys have for the journal entry for the first one? Wait a minute, is this a different looking one than you guys have? I think it is.
Yeah, Professor, so I'm pretty sure that this is the one that we were working on last class, wasn't it? But it does look a little different. I actually didn't download the one that you sent today. In the email, I have the one from last class. I'm looking at it right now, and it's basically the same thing. Only we actually have it filled out up to number 12, I believe.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, you know what? I think I must have overwritten it because this is.
Yeah, I think there was just some sort of mistake there, but it's the same thing. It just looks a little format. It looks like it's formatted a tiny bit different, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So okay, so this is
That is number 12.
and we already did this one.
I don't think so. I don't have it. That's the last one that I have.
We're up till number 4.
Huh?
We stopped at number 4.
Yeah, number 4. That's what I have at least.
Okay. All right. Well, let's have. Okay, so this is. Let's go to number 5. This is. It probably is this on your. I think I just had the day of the month. I'll show you my error here. I said the journal the following transaction for October. I didn't tell you guys that these are actually the days of the month. So it looked like, wow.
Oh, okay.
Wow, Mr. Taylor has no idea how to count. But actually, those are supposed to be the days of the month. And I apologize for the confusion in that. So number 5 is actually, oops. Oh, don't do that.
Yeah, wait, I apologize. I'm all the way up till purchased office equipment on account for 10,000.
Okay, but do we do these together as a class, or do you work ahead?
We
I'm
did
not
these
sure.
together as a class.
Yeah, we stopped at 12.
So 12 is blank. Received cash from customers' accounts 7,800.
Okay.
And there's where we stopped in the last class, I believe.
Okay. Well, let's start with this one then. And by the way, I think what I'll do is I'll go through and fill this thing out and post it later. But let's go through these. It's and I kind of cut this down a little bit. You don't see all the extra stuff in there. Okay, receive cash from customers on account. What are the 2 accounts we're going to use?
Cash, accounts receivable.
Good. Yeah, the account here is the accounts receivable. They owe us money. Now they're paying it. Cash. Oops. Is cash going up or down?
Up.
Up. And accounts receivable? Oops.
Down.
Yep. Okay, so cash is going up. And accounts receivable is going down. 1 second here. Ah, I just broke it. Okay, so what kind of account is cash?
Asset.
Asset. Oops. Cash is an asset and accounts receivable.
Also an asset.
Yep. You can do this. Okay, so they're both assets, so one's gonna be going up with a debit and one's gonna be going down with a credit. Now we got cash, so cash going up, accounts receivable, so they're both assets, we're just switching one asset for another. But common sense would dictate that you'd rather have the cash, right, than the accounts receivable. So, let's see, that's 10. By the way, you don't have to put the date in, because it isn't obvious, but. All right, so cash is a debit, it's going up. Accounts receivable is going down. And again, you don't need to put pluses and minuses or anything. You know, the accounts receivable being in the credit side, that's the minus. You don't need to put that, you know, a minus in or a plus in. Leave it just like that. You know, the debit or the credit will determine whether it's a plus or minus. It's quite honestly, if you did put those in on the test or something, I would pay any attention to it. But the reality is you don't need it. So again, this is, you know, again, quirky, yeah, but it's a very quick way of writing down a transaction. You know, if you're used to using journal entries, you look at this and, oh, we got cash for customer paid off their account. We got cash for accounts receivable. And a big part of this class, a big part of the problem is getting used to this terminology, because it's not something you see every day. Okay. Paid creditor on account. This is number 20. So what accounts are we going to use?
Cash and accounts payable.
Yep. Okay, so cash and accounts payable. Cash going up or down?
Down.
Yep. Oh. And how about the accounts payable?
Down.
Down, yep, down and down. So we're just make it a little easier to read. What am I doing? I'm showing you wrong things to do today. Okay. So they're both going down. Okay, so cash, you guys know cash is an asset. I'm not going to bother with that one. How about accounts payable?
Liability.
Yep. Now, whenever you see that magic word payable, liability, so accounts payable. Okay, so cash is going down, so will it be a debit or credit?
Credit.
Credit,
Yep. Cash is going down. Accounts received, or excuse me, accounts payable. And obviously it has to be a debit, but if you look at here, it's decreasing the debit. Again, if you know one of them, you know both of them. You know, that's not kind of neat thing about journal entries that, you know, maybe is obvious learning them, but that it, if you get one side, you know what the other side is. Okay, so cash, oops, no, accounts payable. You can put them in any order you want. I'm putting them in the way that the book would show them, just so that it's not confusing. Cash is going down. So this is. Maybe worse, but yeah, so you know, again, this method, you know, most people get the what two accounts they get, it's going up or down. Figuring out what the debit and credit is more difficult, can be more difficult. It's one of those things that you just get used to doing. You know, the more you do, the better you get. Then it takes a while. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Paid cash for miscellaneous expenses. So this would be number 27. So what accounts?
Cash and miscellaneous expenses.
So cash. Okay, cash going up or down?
Down.
Down. And miscellaneous expenses are always increasing. And if you look down here, I'm gonna abbreviate it here. You can feel free to abbreviate that too. If you look down here, whenever you run into an expense, you say yippee. Well, you say yippee not because you like expenses, but you say yippee because you, for the journal entry, you know exactly what it is. Expenses are always debits, unless something weird happens, something wacky. Expenses are always debits. So notice this: if you get an expense, that they're always debits. You know, whatever's on the other side, doesn't matter what it is gonna, it's got to be a credit. So expenses are always debits. So whenever you run into an expense, it's a debit. You don't have to look up the cash. No, we're going to do that, but seriously, if you run into an expense, it's automatically. Okay, so this would be cash. No, nothing wrong with, you know, jumping through the hoop here. Cash is going down, so cash should be a credit. So 10. And again, you don't need to put the date in. Just put the answer in. Miscellaneous expense. And you can just abbreviate those. Going down. I got a confession to make. I'm not very good at computers, but so yeah, it's kind of how we figure it out. Okay, this one is a little bit vague on what they're actually saying. It says paid telephone bill for the month. Now, let's assume that this was not an accounts payable. Let's assume that they just got the telephone bill and paid it. Okay, so pay the telephone bill for the month, $365.
So would it go down as an expense?
We have, what expenses do we have? Let's go look at our charts here. Let's see what they have for expenses.
Utilities expense?
Yeah. Yeah, probably utilities expense. Okay, so we have. You know, if I had been smart, I would have cut that and pasted it. But okay, here we go. Utilities expense. And as bad as I am at writing, I think that I would doubly cut and paste that. Okay, so cash. Oh, I should have asked that. When they pay with. Yeah, I should probably already do that. But anyway, so here's the expense. And again, we run into anything that's an expense. And quite honestly, you didn't have to know the increase, decrease. They're always increasing, but you don't even need to know that. If you're going to do an expense, you make the journal entry. You know, for expenses, you don't have to do the increase decrease thing, really. Expenses are debits. And you know, if there's cash, well, you know, the cash has to be a credit. So if you're going to do an expense, you don't need to jump through the hoops. Put it right in. Now, there's nothing wrong with jumping through the hoops, and I would encourage you for your own knowledge to do it, but if you're in a pinch and you don't want to, don't feel like it. Yeah. Whenever you see expense, it's a debit. Okay, now filling this in, expenses are going up. Cash is going down. We're paying this bill. So I'll go ahead and fill this in. But the expense itself, the expense, debit. Whatever the other account is, credit. If there's only two accounts, you know, that's, you don't have to worry about anything else. Question on that? So expense is actually a magic word. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, it tells you that it's going to be a debit. Okay, fees earned and billed to customers. Okay, this is not so obvious. So fees,
Revenue? Oh,
yeah, no, you're actually right. It's revenue. And if we come here to the top, you'll notice that it says revenues, fees earned. I'll leave it there. So revenues and fees earned are the same thing. On a test, I generally don't give a chart of accounts, but if you could use those interchangeably. And you know, whatever a company does for business as revenue. You know, so whatever they call it doesn't change that. So they say fees earned is revenue. Now, there's a beauty to revenues that is similar to expenses. So, oh wait, so accounts, the account they had is fees earned, right? What's going to be on the other side? What's the other account?
Accounts receivable.
Yep. And if they don't actually come out and say that they received the cash, don't assume that they did. So they billed the customers. It doesn't say that they received it from the customers. So if they just say billed, don't make that next step and say, okay, they must have paid it. So they billed the customers for 44,100. Okay, so fees earned and billed. Now, fees earned is a revenue. Oh. Mark you with the capsule. Herbed. They herbed them. Okay, fees are, so here's the thing about a revenue. They can only be one thing. So this fees are so they're always credits. So truthfully, you could actually do this one without showing the increases or decreases. Revenues, credits. Oops. And the other side, accounts receivable, whatever it is, it's gotta be the debit. Oops. So whenever you run into a revenue, is similar to an expense. You see revenue, you can stop right there. Revenues are always credits. Within the credit, whatever's on the other side, whatever the other account is, it's gonna be the debit. Now, I'm gonna put that in just so that we work this whole thing out, so that, oh wait, fees earned are always increasing. The accounts receivable, is it going up or down?
Up.
Up. Yep.
So that question is basically like, as a business, you sent a bill to a customer.
Yeah, mail the bill or whatever. It could be you did the work and handed them the bill too. If it looks like this is, they send them all out at once, like once a month or something. And by the way, this is not my problem. That was a rude thing to say. No, I didn't make this problem. This is from the book. So sometimes kind of funny digging I remember the students taking the CPA exam, The CPA, they can put whatever they want on the CPA exam. So they have some wacky way. And they, well, why is it like that? I don't know. I didn't write it. Kind of work with what you get. Okay, so that's why this is the debit. But but again, if you run into a revenue, you can actually just stop revenues, credits. Whatever's on the other side is going to be a debit. Okay. Paid electricity bill for the month. What's that going to be?
Cash and utilities.
Yep, good. Cash, utilities expense. Oops. Oops. Okay. I'm super lazy and I don't want to go through all this stuff. What is the debit? Which one is the debit?
Utilities, right?
Yep. Utility, whenever you see utilities expenses, they're debits. They're always going up, 1 month's worth of utility, 2 months worth of utilities more than 1 month and so on. So you do not have to go through, once you see, an expense for an account, you know what the journal entry is. Cash. Oops. Must be the credit. So whenever you see an expense, again, it's just, those accounting years go up and you know exactly what the journal entry is going to be if it's an expense. It's gonna be a debit. And so that is nice because then you. Let's see here, I should put point this out here. So once you know an expense, debit. Okay, now we can actually fill in the rest of these. Cash is going down. Expenses are always going up. 2 months worth of utilities is more than 1 month's worth of utilities, so they're always increasing as the year goes on. Our cash going down. We paid the bill. Pay it with. We paid it with cash. Okay, so let's see. There's not anything. Okay, is this it for this? Yeah. Okay, so paid dividends. $1,000. What accounts?
Cash and equity.
Yes and yes, but I'm gonna it's a confusing one.
Cash and dividends.
Yeah, they have up here, they actually have a dividends account. So we use that account. Now, you're saying equity though, that is not actually wrong. Some books show it that way. They'll show it as, you know, here we have it as dividends and expenses are kind of the same as money going out. But in other books, they'll show it as a reduction of equity. Remember our statement of retained earnings, you subtract out the dividends. It reduces your equity, reduces the amount of the accounts receivable or retained earnings. So they're both the same, you know, the debit is exactly the same, but some books will show it as being in the equity section to reduce equity. Some books will show it as dividends as a separate account that is increasing. So I'm going with the way the book shows it here. Just to avoid confusion. It's one of those things that they're debits. Dividends, debits, D&D, debits. All right, so dividends, cash. And the dividends are always going up in the, you know, if you pay dividends twice, it's more than paying dividends once, so. Dividends are increasing. Cash is decreasing. And again, dividends, kind of like expenses, when you see them, you can stop because a debit. Dividends are always debits. No matter which way you do it, they're debits. If you say they're a reduction of equity, it's a debit. If they say that they're their own account, that they're going up, it's a debit. So they're debits. However, theoretically, you want to think about it. Doesn't matter too much because they're always going to be debits. And I guess, you know, the more I think about it, this isn't maybe a bad way to do it, the way the book shows it, because you can say, okay, they're always debits. Whereas if you said it was in the equity account, it might be a question of whether the, you know, dividends were increasing or decreasing the equity. So this way kind of puts it right there that it's a debit. Okay. So dividends. Okay, highlight the cash. Questions? Oh my God, the class is over. I'm sorry. Well, this will be for next class. So here's what we're gonna do. So turn in the chapter 2, exercise 2.7.
That's this one, right?
Yeah.
The one we just got done with.
Yeah, turn this one in. Okay, so yeah, so go ahead and save this one. And turn it. And again, if you Word, you can turn in the Word document too. By the way, converting it to a PDF, you don't have to do that either. If you just turn it in like this in the Word document file, that's fine too. So save it back to the file. And again, you don't have to you don't have to change the file name. When you load it, when you submit it in Blackboard, now you can put your name on it or whatever you want to call it for your own, knowledge. But when you submit it, it goes right into your account, and it actually Blackboard attaches your name to it. So don't worry about, gee, I didn't say that, I didn't have my name on the file name. You really don't need to do that when you submit it in Blackboard. You just submit it the same way it was sent to you if you want. So anyway, you can submit the doc form, or if you want to convert it. Well, I'm not going to show you this one because if you do, you can do save as, and if you have the full version on the desktop. But I'll get that link to the actual downloading of the program. I mean, through your tuition or however you want to think about it, you guys already have access to it. So there would be no harm in downloading onto your computer. Now, I'm not sure how much disk space it takes, so you may want to consider that. But anyway, okay, so we'll turn in this. And I'll put a drop for that. Now, we'll do this next class. So we'll start the practice exam next class. Question on that thing? Okay. So I'll put that in right as we speak. How about that? Already. I spell exercise. Wait, is that it?
That's right.
It's- Yeah, okay. Yeah, I told you, my wife is video.
Didn't you already make a attachment for this?
I don't think so.
Isn't this part 2?
No, this is chapter 2, exercise 2-7.
Sure.
Oh, but there is a drop for the handout too. I did put it there. Okay, possible points, 100. Let me check just to make sure. Although I've never done anything stupid in my life, could be. Yeah. So this. Yeah. So handout part 2. I think we finished that last week. I'm virtually positive we finished that last week. And then this exercise 2-7 is one we just did. That's out of the book. And again, we are taking a little more time. We are going through this slowly. It speeds things up later, especially for chapter 3, which doesn't sound like it should be that hard of a chapter, but it actually is. Any question on this? Okay. So exercise 2-7, turn that in. And next class, anything, right? I might. I think I'm going to send out part 2 of the practice exam. It's a bunch of journal entries and stuff. And maybe we'll do that first. Maybe next, let me, change that. I think we'll start next week. We'll do the chapter 2 practice exam part 2 first. There's actually a pretty big chunk of work. So I think we'll do that, and I'll send that out as we leave the meeting here. So okay, if you have another class to go to, obviously feel free. But yeah, let me. That whole time I wasn't showing my screen, was I?
Oh, you are.
Oh, I was. Oh, okay. So anyway, so next class, we'll start with part 2. Part 2 is actually a lot bigger than part 1. It sounds strange, but it's all the journal entries and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to send that out. Just you take a look at it. Maybe you want to take a look and give a shot at doing some of those problems. That would be a good idea. And we'll go over it next class first. I'm not sure we'll do it all in one class, but we'll see. Okay, well, you guys got a class to go to. I'm already over by a few minutes. So anyway, I'll send that out. You can submit the exercise 2-7 that we just did. Submit that in Blackboard. And I know I'm behind on the grading. I'll get the grading in today. I'll get the grading in. Any questions? Question on that? Okay. Well, have a good day, and I'll see you guys on Thursday.
Thank you. Have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you.